Hey everybody, it's your old pal Ron Howard from xTreme Sequences, and this is Monday Minutes. Man, let me tell you, I am super excited about this week's tutorial, and it's not often I'm intrigued like I am today with some, what I would call some really clever enhancements with xLights as it pertains to submodels and the creation of submodels. And so I'm going to give you a little bit of context with history so that this sort of makes sense, especially for you newer folks that will have no idea what some of this may be in reference to, or the struggles some of us older people have had using xLights for, 8+ years. So I'm going to lay this out, so be patient. The context is really important to reinforce how cool this enhancement is. And I'm going to go ahead and give accolades to Marion Cherry, who is one of the developers for xLights, who has fixed something or resolved something and taken it to new levels that I didn't think we would ever see in the software, especially because I've been barking about it for 7+ years because it has been a thorn or the Achilles heel of making models or submodels from models in xLights, and we're going to uncover all that. But first, a little history. Years ago, when I got together with Gilbert Engineering, we trailblazed the high-density model revolution. We put holes in plastic in a different way and created exciting effects in a different way that nobody else was doing. We trailblazed it. It's fact. It's written in stone. Ask anyone. And because of that, we created a very interesting movement, and it became sort of the norm or the expectation. What new submodels are you going to have? With that, became sort of this need to push further each and every year with new submodels and groups and combinations. And it got to the point where we had so many holes in the plastic that creating submodels became a tedious task, and it was easy to make mistakes. Now, there are some vendors that didn't jump on this bandwagon, and there are some that sort of did, and there are some that might have 3 or 4, maybe 5 submodel or what I call high density models with a lot of submodels. But Gilbert Engineering probably has the most. And I've worked with them over the years with these. And I can tell you from the days that I used to do this, it's a very tedious task. It's painstaking. And there were some challenges to the point that people like myself and Doug Rill had to get on Zoom calls and just rack our brains. Why is this not working? Why does the effect do this when we use single strand on the feathers group of the Rosa wreath? And we decided, well, let's just cut it in half. Let's just do even feathers and odd feathers, and that fixed it. But not really. And I barked about this, but I don't think it was, the juice wasn't worth the squeeze to any of the developers. And let's face it, years ago, I was a guy making money from sequences. So, it wasn't worth the squeeze for a lot of the developers back then. None of the developers were making money from the hobby in those days, and now just about all of them are, except Gil, I think. But anyway, and it's acceptable. It's all good now. So I think it fell on deaf ears, or there just wasn't the ability to solve that problem. And again, HD was taken off, and now it's grown out of control, and everybody wants to have HD models, and that's great. And if you don't like HD models, that's cool too. Candy canes are nice. I like them. All right, so let's get back into more of the context. So the history of this, it was sort of a challenge for sequencers to do certain things. So we did the best we could. We didn't have some of the tool sets that we have now. Going forward, or day forward, there are some tool sets in xLights now that we can use to go back and address certain issues with models if we want to. If we feel it's worth the time. I doubt I see a bunch of us getting together and saying, okay, you take 10 models, I take 10 models, and let's just rework them. Maybe, but I don't know. They work great as they are. But I think the future proofing with this tool is going to be very important for Coro vendors and sequencers. Because if you create a very good symmetrical coral prop, holes that you can use with symmetry, there are some really tasty things that we're going to be able to do as sequencers. And then I'm going to hold accountable a lot of these sequencers that charge for their work. There's no reason for you not to use the tools in xLights to make them look amazing, amazing, amazing. What is this going to do for me? It gives me more tool sets to push myself to do different things with my style of sequencing that I already have. And I don't have to give up anything. If anything, I'm just adding more tool sets to my toolbox to use in my sequences. So I would look for some really cool things from me going forward. And that is exciting as a sequencer. So this Marion Cherry has, and I'll put it in the description, a link on here from Facebook that talks about the utilities that he's using and how they work. And it's pretty fascinating. And I've been working with this for a few days. There's a lot of information in here to go through. And I can only give you so much content at one time. So I'm going to try to be respectful of your time, and I appreciate you watching, and I hope you smash that thumbs up and you subscribe to the channel because it helps me continue to make this content. I spend a lot of hours working through new ways to do things in xLights to help you further your education along your lighting journey with xLights, the labyrinth of all sequence softwares. Okay, so Marion Cherry did some really cool stuff. And he's not finished. Later, I'll do another video on some things he's done with single strand, as if we didn't have enough drop-down menus for that effect. Now we have even more, and we'll talk about that another time. But here, I want to cover how to solve some problems we had in the past. I also want to talk about the steps in which we use to solve some of those problems if they need to be solved. And then lastly, I want to show you how easy it is to create a new submodel groups, and have it your way. Either way, you want to sequence at that submodel under the main model, go for it. You want to create submodels and put them in a group, go for it. You get it both ways, and it's super easy. Pay attention. Let's get started. First thing we're going to see here is we have the Rosa Grande highlighted. And in the Rosa Grande, if I look at my submodels, you're going to see from the old days, we have torches. We have torch short, we have torch long, and we're going to look at the torch long. There are 24 of these. So torch long 1 through 24. When we put these in a group and we sequence with a single strand using left to right, right to left, or bouncing left and right, it created problems. So Doug Rill and I brainstormed on this, said, why don't we just create feathers even, feathers odd? Torch long even, torch long odd. And this is what we did ever since we worked with products like this, like the Rosa Grande, Rosa Wreath, or anything else where things would touch. And it's always where it begins and ends, where these collide, that creates problems. So we had to work around. Again, we didn't have any of these tools. And I think for the first time in xLights history, we have someone that said, look, I'm a developer, I can code, I also buy other people's sequences, and I think we can do this better. And I think he knocked it out of the frickin' park. And I'm going to show you what I mean by that. So let's go to just a basic animation sequence. Are you sure? Yeah, I want to get out of there. Every time I get out of there, it says, are you sure you want to get out of there? Yes, I'm sure. If I go to my sequencer, and I look at an effect here that's on the OG. This is what it would do. If you look, you see the straggler going up where it starts and where it ends, and it goes up. Doesn't matter if I use left, right, or if I bounce left, right, it will do that. And there it goes. But funny enough, if I do a double chase, it doesn't have a challenge. Or if I do bounce to middle or from middle, it doesn't have a challenge. But the moment, and this is what a lot of us will use as sequencers, we love this effect right here. And it does that. And that's just sort of an issue. Same thing, if I use spiral and I put this on vertical per model per strand, you can see here you got that weird little thing sticking out there, acting like some eyesore. So what we did is, to fix this, we just created an even, and we had no issues, and we had an odd, and we had no issues, and we would sequence with those. But now we don't have to. Certainly going forward and model designing and wiring and submodel development, there are better ways, and this is what I'm going to show you. And this is just so uber cool. Did I say uber? I did. That's probably because I'm hungry and I haven't had my lunch. And I don't want to talk about why I'm recording this entire thing for a second time, because it's just going to upset me. And then my Zoom watch, or not my Zoom, but my Whoop's going to start telling me I'm stressing out. So let's not go there. Okay, by the way, thanks for watching. Okay, here we go. I'm going to go back to my layout because we have to get to the submodel area. I have this selected already, so I'm going to go into my submodels. And this is where all the new cool stuff is at. I'm going to scroll down here to my OG model that I created, which is somewhere torch. Here's the torch longs. That's great. Let me go back up here. The first thing I had to do was create a model with these. So I selected this all the way to 24. I right-clicked on it and I told it to join. And what that did was that gave me a model further down called torch long original. Okay, so that effect that I showed you that looked wonky, that's what this is. And then from there, I right-clicked on this and told it to split them, and that created the 24 OG torch longs. And that's within the group that I was showing that effect with. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this one that we want to fix. And what I suggest, if you're going to play around with this, is don't mess with the old stuff, because if you have sequences from sequence vendors that use this, you're going to mess up the sequence if you get rid of this. Leave this alone, put something new in. So I'm going to right click. I'm not going to right click. I'm going to click on this once, and I'm going to tell this to copy at the bottom left here. Copy this. And then I'm going to call this torch long. Let's just call this fixed. There we go. And that looks good. And then I'm going to select all 24 of these long torches. And I'm going to right click, and wow, look at the choices we have here. Remove duplicates, suppress duplicates, remove duplicates all left and right, all top and bottom. Uniform row length, that's a different tutorial, but that gets into having concentric rings that may not have the same number of pixels, and this can make them, it'll shave off the ones to keep them uniform and have the same number. Pivot rows, geometric sort points, all strands, that's something else. Again, I'm going through this trying to make heads or tails. It's pretty in depth. So the one that we're really looking at here is the suppress. And because it's the left and right that meet up on the bottom of that torch, that is the problem. I don't think I want to remove it, because I may want to use that full submodel for other effects that are not impacted like it is with the single strand or spiral effect. So I'm going to tell this to suppress duplicates, all left and right. I suppose I could have just said suppress duplicates, but I'm going to use all left and right. And here we go. And look at that. It gets rid of those. Cool. All right. If you want to see sort of what it got rid of, you can do that by bringing the model over and just clicking on one of these and looking down here to see what it might have gotten rid of where they may touch. Okay, good enough. So now that I have suppressed the duplicates in the submodels, here, I'm going to now right click on the torch. Now, could I just use the single line render effect, you know, at the model level, just scroll down the model list of submodels and click on it? Yes, but I've always been a fan of using effects at the group level. So Marion Cherry was smart enough to realize that he wasn't going to pick sides like, okay, I'm going to go with the philosophy that it should just be in the model and learn how to sequence at the submodel level. And I'm not just going to go with the guys that like groups, because everyone does it differently. So he said, hey, why don't we just do it both ways? And that's what he did. So now all I have to do is right click on torch long and split this. And there's my lovely, lovely 24 submodels of the torch long fixed. And that's it. Now I can click OK. I can get out of here. I'm going to hit save because it's going to want me to. And now I can go over to my sequencer, and I'm going to have to add that new submodel. Oh, actually. Oh, I didn't create a group, did I? No, 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 no. You got to create a group from it. So with my Rosa Grande, I'm going to scroll to the bottom, and I just bet you we're going to see the fixed version of these torches. And we get all the way to the bottom. There they are. So here's my torch long fixed 1 through 24. I'm going to select all these, right click, add selections to existing group. No, create group from selections. And I'm going to call this GE Rosa Grande. Be very picky with your naming conventions. GE Rosa Grande. This is torch long fixed group. Boom. There we go. Now I feel good about that. I'll click save. I'll go over to my sequencer. Beautiful. Now I can bring over that brand new group, which will be sitting down here somewhere. Fix. There we go. You're going to be in here somewhere. Oh, it's Rosa Grande. Hello, Ron. GE Rosa Grande. Torch long fixed. You try having the number of HD models that I have. It's a lot. All right. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring that somewhere over here to the GE Rosa Grande. I'm looking for my OG, my torches OG. Okay, great. So I'm going to bring this and just drop it underneath. So I have my OG and then my fixed. Now we're going to look at the difference between the two sub-model groups and what they do. So I'll X out of this. Make sure I'm in my sequencer. I'll do a quick render. Great, great. So here is my OG group. Here's the problem. Remember this thing? Whoop, right up there. I mean, if that's what I wanted it to look like, and I've actually had that in my sequence because I'm like, let's do that once. It looks kind of cool, but that's not what it's supposed to do. So now we're going to put this on the fixed version of this, and look at that. We get them all going at the same time. Symmetry. Let's do a bounce from left to right. Beautiful. Let's speed this up a little bit. Look at that. Amazing. Brilliant. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. This is so important. Now, let's take a look at the spirals. We're going to bring the spirals down and see if we have that weird thing happening. Let's just speed this up a little bit. Looks good to me. It's uniform. It's not doing that wacky thing like we see right here. See that? That's not right. This, we'll put this one back up. There's that funky thing. No, no, no. We want this. I just think that is really, really cool and so appreciated. If you are someone who likes to sequence and you love HD models and you love playing around with submodels to squeeze every little bit you can out of it. And by the way, just because you have 150,000 submodel or submodel groups, that doesn't mean you need to use them all. I think that's just silly. I think suggesting that the true value in a model or prop is maximizing the use and number of models to get your money's worth is silly. I mean, it's just dumb. I'm sorry, that is dumb. That's like saying, hey, that F48 controller you just bought, you're using all 12 outputs, right? And you're pixel packing. Are you putting 16,000 pixels on that? Because you ain't getting your money's worth if you don't. Oh, that Cult K8, you're only using 7 ports? Wow, wow, really? Man, you're not getting your money's worth. People, be careful who you listen to with advice like that. It's just absolutely silly. And I'm extreme, but I'm practical. Let's continue on to the next part of this, which is the future proofing, which is super exciting to me because I haven't had the time to create a lot of submodels with the newer Gilbert Engineering products. We have Eric Meyer and Gary Hatt and other people that help work on that while I focus on other parts of my business because I'm so busy, I don't have that time. But I have forced myself to spend more time with this last week in learning this and understanding it for all of you. to help all of you. This is why I do this. And does it help me? Absolutely. Will I have time to make a lot of these submodels? No, it's June. I'm going to be behind time if I don't kick into high gear. And I don't like to rush sequences because they look like crap when you do that. Just saying. All right, so what I'm going to do now is go back to my layout, and I'm going to use a different model. And this is the brand new spiral. This is what Jason Gilbert and myself designed while I was in Arizona a few months ago, and it sort of fell off the radar and other people started working on it, and I had a specific vision for the things I wanted it to do, and so I believe I wired it up. Everything was fine in xLights. The new release came out. I tried to put a dot in the center. I removed it, and suddenly xLights said there was only 551 nodes when there were 552 nodes, yet Excel showed 552. Something went weird, and so Gary Hatt worked on it, Eric Meyer worked on it, and between the two we have a functioning model, and we're not gonna mess with it. So this is I think it's gonna be a fascinating model when it's finished. Eric has sent me over a bunch of submodels that I've imported, and I'm still going through looking at things, and I'll be working with him and Jason on all of this. They'll see the video, but I'll spend an hour, we'll get on Zoom so that they understand why this is so important going forward. I think it's really, really good stuff, and I really do think it's important for all the Coral vendors out there and sequencers. So let's get into this. I'm going to show you how easily I can create a submodel and have it automatically make all the other matching submodels to be able to put in a group and sequence some really cool stuff. So let's see what we get here. So I'm going to click on my submodels, and I'm just going to, do I still have this funky one? I do have funky. So let's create a new one. Let's just call this Trouble. I don't know. I'm Trouble. I just made sense to me. So you want to bring this down in here where you can see everything. And oh, well, aren't we picky? All right, come on. Of all times for xLights to act like a weenie. All right, that looks good. You just want to be able to see everything. And what I'm going to do is I'm looking at this, looking for symmetry. What could I use that would have some symmetry? And trust me, there is a whole lot more to some of the stuff I'm going to show you, but I need more time with it. I don't want to give you half-baked things here to play around with. So I'm going to grab this, and I'm just going to try to follow some type of uniform example. I'll go here to here. There are settings that will allow you to decide how this renders. And those are the things I need to play with, such as when this starts at the bottom and goes up, should it just be very centered how it approaches the effect? And I think that's going to be some interesting things. And we're just going to see what this can do, blah, 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 blah. And then we're going to go up in the center here, and then I'm going to branch out a little bit more. And this, again, is nothing more than Trouble. And let's take this one, this one, this one. I'm risking it. Will there be enough? How many of these will there be? I'm assuming there's probably going to be 4 of these based on, oh, you did not just do that. If you make a mistake, go back because order does matter. And this was the last one. Let me get rid of this. So go boom, oop, get rid of you, bye-bye. Man, you gotta be right on that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's get rid of this one. And then I wanna go up. There we go. And that, and that. Okay, yeah. I mean, to me, that looks like an hourglass. So, but I'm gonna call it, yeah, I'm gonna change the name. It is now Hourglass. Because Hourglass. Fine. Okay, so I have that. I hope that there are 3 others that match this. But before I do that, let's screw up. I'm going to click on this, right click on this, and look at all these choices. Again, all this, you saw this while ago with the suppress and blah, 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 the suppress and remove. But the one that's really most interesting to me is the symmetrize rotational. Where did the word symmetrize come from? Left brain, right brain. Interesting. So I'll click on that. It's going to ask me, how many do you think there are? Well, okay, are there 8? And it's going to give me this error. And the error is going to go, dude, are you on crack? Because if you scroll to the bottom, it's going to tell you node 241, that puppy isn't in the other ones. Where that node is, that doesn't work. So you can try again. Or that could be telling a creator of the model that what they have is really not symmetrical. Okay, so I'm going to do this again. Symmetrize, rotational. And if this freaks out and goes in here, don't worry about that. Just put the number in, click OK, and there we are. There are 4 of them. And look at that. Isn't that pretty? All 4 of them. Now, do I need to select this, right click, and tell it to suppress duplicates? No, there's nothing touching, so don't worry about that. There is something, and I need to play around with this more. There is a way that, just in case you were worried that we wouldn't have enough choices with this tool set, you can now tell this to do a radial from near to far based on the model, strand, all these things. I'm not even going to choose one of these. I have to kind of painstakingly go through all of these and see what they do with various combinations. How soon am I going to get to that? I don't know. Will it be on next Monday Minutes? Maybe, maybe not. Dudettes. It's June. Okay, so I'm just going to tell us to cancel, and I'm good with that. So I've created a submodel called Hourglass. So if I just want to test this at the submodel level by double clicking on the model, sure I can, and I'll use single line render style and do all sorts of crazy stuff. So we'll look at that in a second. But what I'm going to do, because you know me, I'm going to split these so that I have Hourglass 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to click OK. Then I'm going to go over to my layout. I'm going to make sure my model's selected. And I'm going to click the chevron. I'm scroll to the bottom, and we're going to see that hourglass. There we go. There's my 4 hourglasses. I'm going to right click. I'm going to tell this to create a group from those selections. This is going to be the GE Rosa. Oh, no. Spiro hourglass group. All right. I like it. Let's save it. And let's get over to our sequencer. Let's bring this in to our effects. And you can see with the model, Spiro, I've been playing around with it quite a bit, probably way too much. There we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for this new model, which is called Spiro. Oh my goodness, what did I just call it? Spiro. Yeah, I call it GE Spiro. There we go. GE Spiro 1, 2 groups. Oh my goodness. Now I'm just going to be losing my... Oh, I'm looking for Hourglass. Hourglass. And you think I would just do a search. Let me look at my master group. Funky groups there. GE Spiro. Oh, there you are, hiding. I'll organize all this later. Right now, I just want to find my Hourglass group. And I'm going to put this up toward the top a little bit to make this easy, so I can show you the difference between the Spiro Hourglass submodel at the model level versus what I'm going to show you here, which is the GE Spiro Hourglass group level effect. Okay. And I'm going to close out of this. I'm going to go to my layout. I'm going to save this because xLights could crash any second. Oh my God, Mike, stay up there. Okay, and now we're back here, and I'm just going to copy this effect. I'm going to just X that out. I don't want to see anything else. So now I'm going to go to my Spiros, which I hope I put up here. I did. And we'll go toward the top. And here is the Hourglass group. I'm going to put that in there. And this over here is what it looks like. And xLights just never... House preview, I feel house preview and model preview need some love. Maybe Marion Cherry will share the same love and get some consistency going between the two. One looks bigger than the other one. It's always been like that. But anyway, this is using just a single strand effect with overlay center. And it looks really cool. I can put let's put 2 on here. And let's just change this to white so you can see it better. And I think that looks really, really cool. It does some cool things. Will other render styles work with it? Yeah, a vertical. You can go with horizontal and get these things going back and left. You know, let's just do left-right rotation. There's 2 of them. We'll speed the cycles up and you get that. Or if you just want one. So I should have called that Freddy Krueger's hand. That's pretty creepy. I like it. I really like it. And can we use things like single line? Sure. Sure you can. There are 4 of these, right? So we can say, look, I've got 4 of these. And then you start messing around with the cycle size and you get to do different things. And that's kind of cool, right? So let's X this out and then let's go into the spiral group, which will get us to the Spyro. And under the Spyro, we're looking for Hourglass, which is going to be way down here, perhaps. Yep, I saw it. So we're looking for just the Hourglass, this one. And I'm going to paste this here. So this is using the effect at the submodel, not the submodel group. There's no group here. As a matter of fact, you look over at the render style, here's your choices. Default, which looks like this. Per preview. Single line. And you can just ignore the rest of these. As a pixel, there you go. Solid color, nice. So when you get into the single line, this is where various submodels will do some pretty sweet things that are pretty nice. I don't do a ton of sequencing here, but I'll probably start. I might. It's a possibility. And basically, if you tell it just half of that, 2, you get boom, boom out the side. So you get different things it can do at the submodel level, not in a group. And then by changing this, we get all sorts of different things. And if I take this to 8 and bring this down, we start getting a lot of things. Now, what's sort of funky about this is the way the cycles work. The cycles works in a different way when you're at the submodel inside the model than the groups. It just does. And so it takes a little more attention to detail with this cycles. Now, what would the cycles do when you start using value curves? Well, won't that be fun? Won't that be fun? As a matter of fact, well, I mean, I guess I could show you. Let me Control X this out of here. Let's close. Oh my gosh. See, this is one of the reasons I don't want to get stuck in this world where I've got to go through all these submodels. This will probably drive me over the edge. I could use something like, I don't know, let's go circles, V, there we go. That looks pretty cool. And that is at the single line. And if I want to put this with the, oh, I don't know, I guess cycles, I could play around with different things and watch it go to town and create unique patterns based on the cycles. I think the suppression really works with this. I know this is a lot of content and some of your heads may be spinning. If you buy other people's sequences, don't worry about this too much. If you're a sequencer, an aspiring sequencer, and certainly if you're a sequence vendor, and I know you watch my videos, I know you do, and I'm super happy about that. These are some tools that I think are really going to help you out. Get out there and let your inner creative beast unleash and create some things that impresses everybody. Impress me. I'm always looking forward to things like that. All right, guys, this has been a long one. Thanks for hanging out. This has been Monday Minutes. We'll catch you guys next time. See ya.